Good morning. Good morning. Emmanuel. Emmanuel. My name is Udekwe Kennedy Obinna. I'm from Abubagu village of Nando, Anambra State. I'm a graduate of Nnamdi Azikwe University, Oka. I read music. I served Kwara State in 2013. And then after graduation, after service, I couldn't get a job. Then my senior brother who stays in Italy, he invited me over to come and try getting a job in Europe. But he told me I'll get to Europe from Nigeria in 2 weeks. But he never told me what I was going to go through. And then on June 21st, 2016, I left Nigeria to get to Libya to cross the Sahara Desert. It took me about 1 week, and we were in a hillocks, 30 of us in the hillocks, crossing the Sahara Desert. And according to what my brother told me, he said very quickly we'll get to Libya. But then we were in the desert, and on leaving Agadez, they asked us each to buy a big gallon of water that it was going to sustain us for the desert journey. But before 2 days, our water supply ran out, and then we got thirsty. And it was really, really bad. It was a do-or-die experience. And some of us started drinking urine to survive. And then at a point, you could not even urinate again because all the liquid in your system is dehydrated. So in a place called Zinda in the desert, we got to an open well. And about 3,000 of us migrants were trying to fetch water from one well. And then some people were falling inside, and still you have to be fetching. And the water was smelling, evidence that some time ago, maybe a day or two, someone had died inside that well. And still we had to drink the water because it was our only source of livelihood then in the day.
So I hope we understand what our brother is saying, that in the midst of the Sahara deserts, the scramble for water was so severe that they were forced to drink water which had a human corpse inside. A water that had the remains of a human being inside, and they were drinking that water just in an attempt to survive the treacherous journey through the Sahara Desert. Could you just give us an idea, brother, of what you passed through on that desert journey and what many people are passing through if they choose to undertake such a route?
Crossing the Sahara Desert is the worst undertaking you can ever venture in your life. In the Sahara Desert, there are still checkpoints in the desert where there are soldiers. These soldiers, they will take your money, they will take your valuables, and sometimes they will take your life. Our girls are raped continuously before you get to Saba. In the desert, even if you have $1 million, you have whatever currency, it's of no use for you. All you need is water to keep your life going. And the sun is very hot. I don't think there is anywhere in the earth as hot as the Sahara Desert. You get dehydrated, you get burned by the sun, and if you're not careful, you die. There are lots of bodies in the desert, unidentified bodies in the desert. So many of us that our families think might have gotten to Europe, they are all back in the Sahara Desert. No burial, no funeral, just bodies in the desert. And then when you're not careful, if you want to urinate, you have to go with your group. You have to hold hands before you can urinate. Because if you go alone, you get lost in the desert. And when you're lost in the desert, you will surely die. Nothing will save you. And then from there, after we crossed the desert, in our hillocks, just one person died. But the other hillocks, because we had to come in convoys, there are a lot of dead people. Whenever anyone dies, there is no time to wait. The person is thrown from the car down, and then the journey continues. But to the glory of God, I was lucky. I was able to cross the desert. But if I had thought my problem was over, I didn't know it was just beginning. Because on getting to Saba, it is the second town, entering Libya from Niger Republic, it is the second town, Saba. Immediately we got to Saba, we all were sold as slaves in Saba. And then when we were sold, we were told to call our families back home in Nigeria to pay 2,200 dinars. That is about 220,000 naira. And then we thought they were joking, so we refused to pay. and then they started torturing us. They'll get us naked, tie our hands behind, and tie our legs together, and then you're beaten under the feet. And when you're beaten under the feet for a long time, you start urinating blood, and then you're not given any food. When you are to be beaten, they'll give you a telephone. You provide your family's number. So I gave them my mother's number. Immediately I called my mother and I said, "Hello, mommy, it's me, Obi." Then they started beating me with rubber pipes and irons and knives. I have cuts on my leg where they stabbed me. And then immediately my mom heard my voice, they started beating me. They told her that if in 1 week's time she do not pay the sum of 220,000 naira, that I'm going to be killed. And I was there, I thought it was a joke. But when I saw my friends dying one by one around me, I knew it was serious. So I started putting pressure on my family to please pay, else they would never see me alive again.
So whilst the phone is on, your family will be hearing the screams of you as they are beating you. And that was how you would be beaten. Just tell us, how severe was the beating you are talking about?
The beating, you are naked and then you're flogged pipes all over your back and iron rods. So your family will hear you screaming. Sometimes your family will not be able to enjoy it. If they have to sell a land or sell a car or sell a house, they will sell it quickly so that you can be bailed. But I have friends that could not raise the money. They were killed. And then if you die in that process, there is no burial for that person. He is thrown in the desert, and that is the end of him. And then the girls, they don't beat the girls. What they do to them, they sell them into prostitution. And then they are to pay 6 million naira each if you are in Saba. But if you get to Tripoli, you're paying ×2 of that 6 million. That is 12 million naira. You pay before you're freed as a girl. And then from there, when we get to Tripoli, that is where we undertake the Mediterranean crossing.
Okay, in your own case, you were under this slavery and beating for how long?
I was in slavery 2 months. That was from July until late September, when my family were able to pay the money. And then I came out of there. On getting to Tripoli, we were caught again by the police and we were taken to prison. And then they told us to pay 5,000 dinars. But I couldn't raise that one because I couldn't contact my family. So I had to be sold again a second time to a Libyan woman who was using me to work. And then I did all kinds of job for her. There was no time for rest. I was only working. I was in the prison 5 months. So when I came out, I worked for her another 2 months. But the condition was really unbearable. So I ran away from the woman's house. And then I went to the seaside to try to cross from Libya to Italy. And then when we were in the boat, I thought the way my brother told me, he said it's about 2 hours from Libya to Italy, that when you stand in the seaside at night, you can even see the lights of Italy. But I didn't know these were all lies. And then we were on the sea for about 3 to 4 hours. We were getting nowhere. Then our engine had faults and we were stranded on the sea.
And how many people were within this boat that you were on?
We were 165 in a small boat. We were sitting so tight, so cramped. And then when our engine got spoiled, the petrol we were using to power the engine poured into the boat. And when this petrol mixes with salt seawater, it becomes like fire. It peels off your skin. So I was sitting on top of the boat. But those that were inside, so many lost their lives. Some were pregnant women, some were men like me. But we that could swim, we started jumping into the water.
So those that were inside, the toxic substance started burning off their skin, and they lost their skin, and many lost their lives in that process.
Yes, when this water mixes with petrol, it becomes toxic and it burns the skin. It can remove all your flesh away, just like someone burnt by fire. But this is even more serious than that. Because at that point, you're in the midst of water, and when the waves come rolling, it mixes more with the petrol and your situation gets critical. And then in an hour tops, the person is dead. And because of we were too much in the car, anyone in the boat, anyone who dies will throw the person into the water, so there will be space for us to sit.
Okay, now you said that you had to jump out and swim once this situation became so severe, and that was how you were able to survive. Could you just give us an idea on that sea, in that particular sea? If you go to the seashore, what is the sights you will be seeing to show the amount of people who are losing their lives trying to undertake such a journey?
The Mediterranean Sea is recorded as the largest mass grave in the world. It has taken so many migrants, so many. Even as I'm talking to you now, I know there are still people on the Mediterranean Sea right now trying to attempt this dangerous crossing from Libya to Italy. This sea, the boats we use are not good at all. We pay huge money to these smugglers, but they don't provide good boats for us. And they will tell us it's just 80 people in a boat, but they end up putting 160, 180, sometimes even 200. You have to sit. Someone will sit in front of you. There's no space to even stretch your leg. And then it is so tight that the boards on the floor of the boat, sometimes they break and water starts coming in the boat. And if such happens, everyone in that boat is sure of death. No one will come out, because even if you're a very good swimmer, you cannot swim the Mediterranean. And in my own case, I was lucky because where I was sitting close to the captain. So when people started falling into the water, and I held on to the boat because one side of the boat was already broken and it was leaking. I held on to the boat, and then when I could see the dry land, it was like an hour's swimming to the dry land. Immediately I wanted to jump into the water. I heard someone screaming in the boat, so I turned back and looked. It was a pregnant woman. All her skin was burnt, and I was like, can I swim with this woman? When I looked at her, she was crying, and she was like 8 months pregnant. So I had to carry her on my back, and I begged some Nigerians that please, if you're a good swimmer, try to take even one person to shore. So I jumped into the water with this woman, and then I was able to swim out with her. And then because this crossing is only done in the night because of the Libyan police, they have to try to beat the Libyan police so they don't see us. In the morning after every pushing, because when they want to push, they will contact each other, these smugglers, and then they push like 8 to 10 boats carrying between 160 to 200 people. And sometimes the weather might not be good, and if there is any problem on the sea, you know there are going to be deaths. So in the morning, we that survive, they will still bring us back to clear the seashore of dead bodies. And these dead bodies might be friends, might be brothers, might be people you know, you've eaten with. And then we have to carry them from out of the sea, and we have to bury them at that seaside, because if the Libyan police comes and see dead bodies around, they will know that there are migrants trying to cross, and every camp around there will be raided. That is going back to prison again. So we do everything humanly possible. Immediately you see a dead body being pushed to shore, you have to take the person and bury the person immediately.
So once again, people of God, we're listening to this life experience as a lesson, especially to people who perhaps may be naively considering taking such a journey abroad, taking an illegal route. This is someone who has passed through that journey and survived to tell the tale. And we believe his experience is an eye-opener to those who are here right now and those watching. So brother, could you tell us, for how long were you actually attempting to take this journey? How long were you there in Libya trying to cross over to Europe?
I was in Libya 2 years. I went in 2016. I came back on Tuesday, 5 days ago. I attempted the crossing twice. The first time we had problem on the sea. The second time, before we could get to the seaside, we were raided by the Libyan police. And then when we were taken to prison, they started torturing us again. And it was like reliving a past experience. And I was like, instead of me to die in prison in Libya, it is better for me to come back home and start my life again. So when the Nigerian embassy came to the prison, we started crying to them that please take us home. We want to go back home. And then to the glory of God, on Tuesday the 6th of June, they came and took 160 of us, not counting children, adults, 160 of us, and they brought us back home to Nigeria.
So we thank God that our brother is here in our midst to tell this tale. Brother, why did you decide to come with many of your colleagues to the Synagogue Church of All Nations immediately upon your arrival from Libya?
I came to the Synagogue Church of All Nations for one reason. One, I want the world to hear my story. And I want to use this as a determinant to other Nigerian youths, African youths, trying to cross to Italy from Libya. Please, it is better to stay at home and do whatever little job you get, because Europe is overstated. There are no jobs like we are meant to believe. Because my brother who invited me, he lied to me. He never told me I was going to see all this. He only put good pictures on Facebook, and these pictures lured me to try this dangerous journey. But I have experienced it firsthand. I know it is not what it seems. So I'm begging Nigerian youth and other African migrants, please never undertake this journey, because it is only 1% that you're going to come back home alive. Because if you don't die in the desert, you might die in the sea. And I believe I was lucky to even come back home.
Well, we thank God that our brother is here once again. And brother, can you tell us when you and your colleagues ran to the Synagogue Church for Nations? Just tell us what's happened when you arrived here and what Jesus Christ did for you and your colleagues through the intervention of Prophet TB Joshua and the Emmanuel TB partners.
When we got to Lagos, I and my colleagues, we decided to come to the Synagogue Church of All Nations because we know Prophet TB Joshua is going to receive us. He's going to show us fatherly love, and he's going to welcome us back home. And immediately we got here, he really welcomed us, and he also supported us with the sum of 3 million naira to start our life again in Nigeria. And on behalf of myself and the other 159 passengers of Tuesday deportation, I am saying thank you to Prophet TB Joshua. You've been a big help to us. You've encouraged us and supported us at this time where we need to find ourselves in life. Thank you very much, sir.
Amen. Let's put our hands together for Jesus Christ. Well, we give glory to God once again that our brother is here in our midst. And brother, a final word from you. What is your word of advice based on this horrific life experience? God preserved you to be able to share this experience with the world. And now that you're here, what do you want to advise people of God?
What I want to say is everyone should be content with what he has, however little. Never look greedily at what you don't have, because sometimes in trying to get what is not yours, you might lose what you already have. Thank you.
Glory be to God Almighty. We believe that this is a message that has reached the hearts and ears of those watching around the world, especially young people who may be considering undertaking such a journey. Our brother said he was deceived by someone saying it would be an easy journey, there would not be any challenges, he would quickly reach Europe, a place where he'd get a job quickly, get lots of money, but at the end of the day, he's wasted 2 years of his life and experienced untold torture, hardship, suffering, being sold twice into slavery, and just surviving by the grace of God to return back to tell his story. So we believe his lessons of life will serve as a reminder to you around the world to be content with what you have. And we believe that as you involve God in your decisions making, work as if everything depends on you, and pray as if everything depends on God, you will be successful in the area that God has called you to be. And if you, at all you are to travel abroad, you will travel in a right, legal and correct way. And we believe that the best is yet to come for our brother. As he's come back to the arena of liberty, we are very sure he'll be returning with more wonderful testimonies in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Acabamos de escuchar la experiencia de vida de este hermano que visitó la sinagoga Iglesia de todas las Naciones en búsqueda de ayuda. Él y 165 personas más que fueron reportados de Libia. Él nos comenta que él estudió artes musicales, se graduó aquí en Nigeria y estuvo en búsqueda de empleo ya que no podía conseguir empleo, no tenía ningún tipo de promoción académica o promoción financiera. Él nos comenta que su hermano lo animó a viajar a Italia, ya que él vive allí. Él lo animó a viajar a Italia para poder encontrar un trabajo fácil y dinero fácil. Él nos comenta de que comenzó su viaje desde Nigeria a Libia para poder de Libia pasar a Italia. Él nos comenta que todo su viaje, toda su experiencia de vida es algo que él no le aconseja a ningún joven de Nigeria, a ningún joven que intenta viajar ilegalmente. Él nos comenta una experiencia de vida que él tuvo que pasar por muchas cosas malas, él y muchos deportados más. Él nos comenta de que él tomaba inclusive agua que estaba con partes humanas dentro. Él nos comenta de que él pasó por el desierto de Sahara, él veía cuerpos muertos, él veía cómo sus compañeros morían y morían junto con todo el grupo con el que él estaba. Él nos comenta de que tuvo una experiencia horrible viendo cómo personas morían, las personas que lo acompañaban, inclusive cuando él quiso pasar de Libia a Italia a través del mar Mediterráneo. Habían tantas personas dentro del bote que los botes se rompían y las personas terminaban ahogándose en el agua o ahogándose en desechos tóxicos dentro del agua. Él nos comenta distintos tipos de experiencias de vida para que todos escuchemos y entendamos que tenemos que hacer lo correcto, hacer las cosas correctas y también seguir en el camino de Dios. Él nos aconseja a conseguir un trabajo estable, a conseguir lo que sea que Dios nos dé, pero que no vayamos en búsqueda de lo que no es correcto, como él iba ilegalmente de Nigeria a Libia y de Libia a Italia. Esta experiencia de vida es para aquellos que intentan hacer distintos tipos de viajes, distintos tipos de cosas que son ilegales, para que puedan abstenerse y buscar la voz de Dios en todos sus problemas o en todas sus circunstancias. Continuamos.
Nous venons d'entendre le témoignage de ce garçon qui nous a raconté l'expérience de sa vie, comme la plupart des jeunes qui sont tentés de faire le voyage de presque de non-retour pour traverser le désert, pour aller en Europe, pour chercher des champs plus luxueux, des joyeux pâturages pour survivre à l'étranger. Mais il nous a raconté que ce voyage a été extrêmement dangereux. Lorsqu'il a commencé le voyage, ils sont passés par le Niger, où ils sont tombés entre les mains de ravisseurs qui leur ont demandé des rançons à payer de 230 000 naira environ par personne. Si les personnes ne peuvent pas payer, et on les torture, on les frappe en appelant leur famille pour que leur famille entende leur voix, leurs cris, afin que ça pousse à payer. Il a dit que ceux qui ne peuvent pas payer, la plupart sont morts, on peut même leur tirer dessus. Il s'est dit durant la traversée du désert, il n'y a pas de point d'eau. Et les seuls points d'eau existants, ils ont vu qu'il y avait des cadavres dans ces eaux et l'eau n'était pas potable, l'eau était vraiment très mauvaise et il y avait des cadavres en putréfaction dans cette eau, ils étaient forcés de le boire car il n'y avait pas de point d'eau. Il disait que certaines sont morts durant la traversée dans le bus et n'ont pas de temps, ont jeté les corps par les vitres, on les jetait à terre et ces hommes disparaissaient ainsi, leurs corps disparaissaient dans la nature. Et il disait que lorsqu'il est arrivé en Libye, certains se retrouvaient en prison et pour faire la traversée, il faut payer beaucoup d'argent et c'est très risqué. Il a essayé de traverser 2 fois. Une première fois, ils ont eu un problème de panne de moteur. Et là, ils se sont rendus compte que le carburant s'est mélangé avec l'eau de mer et ça a déclenché une réaction chimique comme de feu. Et on voyait les corps qui brûlaient, les peaux qui s'est détachées sous la chaleur. Il a vu une femme qui était enceinte de 8 mois et il a sauvé cette femme en plongeant la mer parce qu'elle savait nager, mais ceux qui ne savaient pas comment nager perdaient leur vie par noyade. Et il y a des milliers de personnes qui mouraient. Il a dit que lorsqu'il a échappé à la mort en arrivant au rivage, ils ont vu des milliers de cadavres sur le rivage. Alors on leur demandait d'enterrer ces corps à la va-vite parce qu'ils ne voulaient pas que la police le découvre et vienne. Et c'est ainsi qu'il a dit que beaucoup de jeunes, beaucoup de femmes, beaucoup de personnes sont morts comme ça dans cette traversée dangereuse. Le conseil qu'il donne à tout le monde, s'il vous plaît, ne faites plus ce voyage. Car lorsque vous cherchez à avoir des choses que vous n'avez pas, vous risquez de perdre ce que vous avez, de perdre de sa vie comme beaucoup de jeunes l'ont fait. Donc le conseil qu'il donne aux jeunes, soyez contents de ce que vous avez, attendez le temps de Dieu et surtout n'allez pas en aventure dans ce voyage qui est extrêmement risqué et dangereux à travers le désert et la mer.
Hallelujah. Let's put our hands together for Jesus Christ one more time. So, brother, we just have a final question for you. You mentioned that you're aware that even as you're talking right now, people are actually attempting such a journey out of desperation because they've been deceived. All all over Africa, in fact, all over the world, these encounters and experiences are taking place. So what would be your message to youth, not just here in Nigeria or Africa, but all over the world concerning undertaking such a journey, and how people who are even not thinking of taking such a journey should warn others from going on such a journey?
Okay. Yeah, I want to use this as a medium to try to advise all African youths, migrants from around the world. In Libya is the center point to get to Europe from North Africa. Now we have people all the way from Bangladesh, all the way from Egypt, Tunisia, Morocco, Algeria, and all parts of West Africa. Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Senegal, Mali, Burkina Faso, Gambia, and many other countries. We all meet in Libya trying to cross the sea. So it doesn't end here. Please, I want you viewers, all of you watching me as I'm sharing my story, please try to save a soul. Because so many people are misled to go to Europe, not knowing the true picture. Most times, those that succeed to get to Europe, they only post good pictures on Facebook. And now these pictures mislead people, thinking that this journey is easy. This journey is death. I was lucky to come out alive. Many times I have been shot at. I have faced death, not once, not twice. Please, you have a brother, you have a friend, someone who wants to go. Please stop that person. He might be deceived by a friend in Europe or a brother or a sister. Don't let anyone go, because he is going to certain death. You can use the newspaper, you can use the televisions, you can use magazines, you can even use Facebook to spread this message across, not only Nigeria, but Africa at large. Try to save a soul. Try to stop someone from making this dangerous journey, because every day people are dying. People are dying. Please help. And I know, even as I have decided not to go again, there are still people who will still undertake this journey. Please, if this person is close to you, try to stop them, because you might be lucky the first time, but the second time might take your life. Please try to save a soul.
Amen. Let's put our hands together for Jesus Christ.
Le conseil qu'il vient de donner, c'est que même en ce moment présent où il parle, il y a beaucoup qui s'apprêtent à faire la tentative de cette traversée dangereuse et mortelle. Le conseil qu'il donne à tous les jeunes Africains, à tous les pays africains, ne vous laissez pas tromper, ne vous laissez pas tromper par ces appels de sirènes. Des gens qui vous montrent des photos sur Facebook, qui vous disent que oui, tout est rose en Europe, on a réussi à traverser, c'est pas vrai, c'est pas la vérité, ce n'est qu'une tentation. Ceux qui ont échappé à la mort comme moi, nous savons ce qui se passe là-bas. Alors si vous connaissez autour de vous quelqu'un qui veut s'apprêter à faire ce voyage, dissuadez telle personne pour le salut de son âme, pour le sauver, car ce voyage est dangereux. Si tu as échappé une fois, tu pourrais ne pas échapper une seconde fois, car c'est un voyage qui peut être de non-retour. Alors il donne appel à tous les jeunes qui l'écoutent, de quel que soit le point de l'Afrique où ils sont. Ne cédez pas à cette tentation de céder aux sirènes pour aller faire le voyage à travers le désert et traverser la mer dangereusement pour aller en Europe de manière illégale. Ne faites pas cela, s'il vous plaît.